I'm wearing a gold star shirt. Oh, recording in progress. All right. Everybody can see my gold star shirt. I'm not wearing it today because I'm traveling and don't have it with me. Before I can really talk about gold star leadership, I have to tell you what the gold star means to me. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of successes, or at least I never perceived a lot of the things I did as a child or as a teenager or as an adult as important or impactful or even accomplishments for myself. And I remember, and I had done a lot of things that were probably pretty cool if I look back on it now, but I never really imagined or thought of them as important things or things to celebrate, right? And I think a lot of us kind of push off the things that we might need to or should be celebrating about ourselves. It's way easier to celebrate for somebody else than for us. And I started to think about what would it look like if I gave myself a gold star, right? Could I start to think of it that way, where I could celebrate the things that I was doing and the things that I was trying to accomplish in my life, instead of just dismissing them and thinking I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not accomplishing or doing enough. So I made myself this little gold star shirt just for me. It was just for me to look at it in the mirror, and I'd give myself a little thumbs up. But in this picture, I'm actually sitting at an airport on my way to New Zealand. My son had a work visa there, so my husband and I and two of our other kids were traveling there to visit him. But in this picture, right after this happened, so I'm excited, right? I'm going to give myself this gold star moment. I'm going away with my kids. It's going to be so fun. And about 10 minutes after this picture, a business partnership arrangement completely fell apart over text. This person knew I was on my way. She knew I couldn't respond or get into the discussion because I was about to board a plane, and completely blindsided me a few minutes after this. The other thing that was going on in this picture was I had been scheduled for a biopsy for breast cancer. And they couldn't do it before. They told me to go on my trip because they couldn't schedule it until after anyways. But of course, my husband and I debated whether or not I should even go. So I'm a bundle of nerves, and this gold star moment for me did not seem very celebratory in this time, right at this time. And just a quick sidebar, I'm completely fine. Everything worked out good. It's all fine. But for me, the gold star represents understanding and celebrating who you actually are designed to be, who you are as a person, who you are as a friend, who you are as a business person, who you are as a partner, who you are as a family member. And that's where gold star leadership starts for me, is that there is so many people out there who believe leadership is about a position of power. It's about authority. It's about being the boss. And real leadership is about a set of characteristics and values that you are constantly growing and developing and learning and immersing yourself into understanding who you are as a core person and how your gifts impact the world around you. Does that make sense? You know, I can't really see you all because I'm staring at my picture here. But we have to really be brave enough to lead by example. And so this is a picture I took on one of my trips, and I just loved it so much. Inhale courage and exhale fear. And this is something, when I was worried that I had breast cancer, I remember going on walks, and as I'm walking, I was imagining myself breathing in that fresh air and exhaling cancer cells. That's really how I was thinking about it, like bringing in the good and letting out the bad. And it became this sort of meditative practice for me, which I still do to this day. When I remember to breathe, when I'm outside, I tell myself, Raelene, have you remembered to breathe today? And it was such a big, important piece for me to almost give that gift to myself. But as I was sort of building my business and working on the things I wanted to do, I just was really afraid of who I was. What was I going to find out at the end of that? What was I going to discover if I really unpacked who I was? Would it be somebody that I wanted to celebrate? Because I had a lot of question marks around that as a young adult. And it's probably important to this conversation for you to know I'm a mother of 5. So I have 5 grown kids now. They've all left the house. I was just joking / not joking before everybody came on with Jill and a couple others that as soon as our last daughter left home, we bought a Jeep, sold everything and bought a Jeep so that we would have a home that our kids couldn't move back into. So we travel around a lot in our Jeep. But I am a serial entrepreneur. I've done a few different types of businesses. I still own a visual effects and animation company that my husband and I have owned for almost 28 years. I don't work in it as much anymore because I don't need to. I owned a restaurant, I own a cheesecake company, but I really had to make a decision about 8 years ago about whether or not those types of businesses would serve the deeper purpose of what I wanted, which is to make an impact in the world, which is what you guys are all doing or all want to do. And I made a very conscious decision to change everything about my life and to start using the things that I had done. I owned a restaurant. I wrote a book while I was waiting for my kids to get home from school, like waiting at the bus stop. I own a visual effects company, and all these things I just dismissed as not important. Who cares? They're not valuable or accomplishments. And when I started to decide that no, these things really did shape who I was as an entrepreneur, they shaped who I was as a person, and they would shape how I looked at the world. And I started to get much more intentional about leadership, about understanding and helping support other small businesses or other business people as they were growing in their business. And I was being asked to speak more, but I just didn't feel like I had a story to tell. I didn't feel like anything mattered. And so when I started relating the Gold Star concept to my work, it really changed because I was so ready to celebrate you, right? I was so ready to celebrate what everybody else was doing, but I couldn't celebrate me. And I wanted to make a difference and make an impact. And I started an organization, it's called Origin Leadership Consulting. And the whole concept behind my business is we collaborate with coaches, consultants, advisors, educators, people in professionals all over the world who want to make a bit of a bigger difference, and they want to sort of work together with clients that are sort of bigger. And so just in a nutshell, that's what it is. But what makes us a little different is that our entire perspective is about putting people first. It has nothing to do with your corporation's bottom line. We believe that profit follows people. Right? When you treat people well, when you start to understand the culture you want in your organization or in your business, when you sit and make a really good strategic plan that's based on the heart center of what you want and how you want to impact the world, everything else follows from that and stems from that. And I want to know this, because this is how I felt. Are you a success spectator? And what separates somebody from being a success spectator and being successful, in my mind, is one word, and it's having a verb, being a verb, having courage to do the things that you want to do. And so many people sit back and attend different things, they watch different things, they're looking at everybody else and what they're doing, they're on LinkedIn, they're constantly watching from the sidelines. And this was something I never wanted to do. I wanted to be involved, good or bad. I wanted to make sure that I could put myself forward to help whatever door I can knock on that's going to help somebody else, whatever situation I can put myself in that's going to help the situation move forward. That's what I wanted to do. And I was a bit conflicted because I also wanted adventure. So I told you guys, I live in a Jeep. I have a rooftop tent. I travel a lot. Even with our kids, we had no money. We were living on an artist's income basically for a lot of years, but we would find ways to have experiences together. And I've really designed and shaped my work so that I can do those things, right? I was just in Mexico on a road trip, took it took our Jeep down there for 3 weeks for my 50th birthday. And I came back with 2 clients, 2 organizations that I'm going to be working with. And so these are things that can be done. And I love this. You guys have seen this. How many people, I can't really see everybody, but I just want to say this is something a lot of us feel, right? When we have leadership skills, or we're trying to grow our leadership skills and we want to put ideas forward, it's sometimes hard to balance that with feeling like you're being bossy or feeling like you're being overbearing. And for me, this concept of gold star leadership is really about just being very clear about who you are and where you want to go and how you can support other people to get where they want to go. It's reciprocal, it's collaborative, it's circular. And I just love that about the whole leadership concept. The other thing I didn't really lead with, but it's relevant, is when I started becoming very intentional about taking leadership to a new level and supporting people at a new level, even myself, I decided to go back to school. And I say back to school because I only went to high school and I was a terrible student. Then I got out of high school, got married, had 5 kids. And so my life was fairly full. And when I decided to try to go get a degree, I applied having no education. And they put me into a Master's of Leadership program, and I was able to completely skip the whole bachelor 4 years. And so that was just a huge accomplishment. And if I had my gold star shirt then, I'd be wearing it too. But it was all part of being very intentional about putting verbs and actions into my leadership plan. How do I want to support my own leadership skills so that I can better support other people through what I do? And I think the world needs better leaders. This is, as I was on my way to my first residency, the first year of my master's degree, I drove by myself 4,500 kilometers and camped along the way throughout Canada just because I wanted to. And I spent my time reading this book to give myself the courage to go through that program. And I want to just challenge you. And that's why I asked you to write down that thing. What's that thing that you kind of just wish? I'm 50 years old and I've done more to advance my own career in the last 7, 8 years than I did before that, because up until then, I was home with my kids. I didn't have an education. I wasn't working on anything intentionally. And when I flipped the switch and realized that if I was going to make an impact, then I first had to make an impact with me. It had to start with me. And I couldn't send that out or share that to other people if I didn't believe it myself. I'm just checking the chat. A couple minutes left. Okay, great. So I'm just going to wrap up here. I know I said a little bit before in the notes about working with other cultures. That's something leadership has taught me so clearly, that working with other communities, this is me. I teach First Nations students on the reserve leadership skills, communication skills, pre-employment skills. We're just about to start a project in Tanzania with Tanzanian women and youth. And again, it's all around, let's build us up first as individuals so that that can have the ripple effect to other people. And just as a quick wrap up, and I know you might have questions, and that's great. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now, love mercy now, walk humbly now. You're not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. And so I think that's just so apt with some of the things that are going on around us. And last but not least, I just want to show you this. And I love this for us, all these people here who might have something they wish they could start. Don't be afraid to start over again. This time you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. And for all of you who've dismissed your gold star moments, who haven't valued what you contribute enough, I just want to encourage you to rethink that. Rethink that. And I think I'm out of time here. So I want to Jill, is it like question time, or I have a couple of questions I want people to sort of think about in their breakout rooms, but.
Yes, please, Raelene. That was gorgeous. I've got so many thoughts going through my mind now. Thank you. But yes, if you've got a couple of questions that we can pose to everybody, we'll put everyone into a breakout room of 3 people or possibly more, and we can start our conversations around that. So yeah, go for it.
Perfect. I think they're going to get posted in the chat box too, but the 2 questions are, what would need to happen for you to start pursuing your greatest wish now? And whatever you wrote on that paper, what would need to happen in your life for you to be able to start? And then the second part of that question is, what would you need to do today? Or what can you do today to actually move that forward? Do you need to talk to somebody about it? Do you need to put some shape around it? Do you need to start a separate savings account? Do you need some creative ideas on how to start? What is it? What is it?